long ago, to be precise 900 years ago, King Malladev ruled over the kingdom of Bhadoch in Gujarat. His prime minister Vishardev and his wife Marsai had a son named Harpardev, a handsome and brave young man. When Singhan, the king of neighboring Devgiri, attacked Bhadoch, Harpardev fought bravely and repulsed the attacking army right up to Verur. He suffered a wound on his forehead, and while recuperating, he began to tend to other sick people. But then one day, he himself got very sick and died. When his body was placed on the funeral pyre, he suddenly came back to life. His life went on as before, and he continued to tend to the sick. He even borrowed money to pay for their treatment. But according to some others, Harpardev got addicted to gambling and incurred debt. He requested his wife Kamalaisa to give him her ornaments so that he could pay back the money he owed to others, but she refused. This made Harpardev lose interest in the life of a householder, and he left for Ramtek in Maharashtra. There, he met an accomplished master Govind Prabhu who gave him the experience of union with God. He also renamed Harpardev as Chakradhar, who then went on to practice meditation for 12 years. While traveling in this state as a yogi, Chakradhar reached Warangal. Impressed by his handsome looks, a Samavedi Brahmin got him married to his daughter Hausamba. However, Chakradhar had now acquired a state of non-attachment and was not interested in leading the life of a householder. He again abandoned his family and resumed his wanderings. When he reached the banks of the river Bhogavati, he received a vision of Lord Dattatreya and he converted and became a monk. He began to wander from place to place while preaching. His cheerful and loving nature and his preaching of equality got him several disciples. As more and more people began to accept his philosophy, his popularity increased. Queen Kamaisa of Devgiri and Hemad Pandit's wife Demati became his disciples. But some priests began to feel jealous and they tried to harass Chakradhar in many ways. But because of his spiritual powers, Chakradhar came out of all difficulties unscathed. Finally, in the course of his walking tours, he left behind his disciples one by one and went towards the north by himself. It is believed that he died in 1272. After Chakradhar's departure, his disciples plunged into sorrow and began to miss him terribly. They found life without him worthless. They began to get together and reminisce his deeds. That's when his disciple Mahim Bhatt thought of writing down his memories of Chakradhar. He also met other disciples and worked hard to note down whatever they could remember about Chakradhar, and on the basis of that he wrote Chakradhar's biography. This became the first prose book and the first biography in Marathi called Leela Charitra. That book is the topic of today's discussion. Welcome to the second episode of Grantha Yatra. Those of you who watched the first episode published last Friday, welcome back. Those of you who are joining us for the first time, let me tell you about this program in short. Grantha Yatra is a series of chats about select 100 great works of literature in Marathi. Last week, we got introduced to Jnaneshwari, and today we are going to talk about Leela Charitra, written in the 13th century. This book occupies an important place in Marathi literature as the story of the extraordinary life of Chakradhar Swami, his philosophy and his teachings, as well as an important text in the Mahanubhav sect. At the same time, it unfolds the tapestry of Maharashtra's culture in the 13th century. Abiding by the rules to be observed by a monk, Chakradhar Swami continuously travelled from one place to another and thus came in contact with many people. When describing these journeys undertaken by him, the book naturally describes the lifestyle of people in those days, their customs, social structure, various occupations followed by the people, and the political system. As we read this book, The way people spoke in those days, the food they ate, the garments they wore, the means of their entertainment, their festivals, their gods, their faiths, and superstitions all unfolds before our eyes like a film. Take this deed for example. सेंदुर्णी गोपाळी अवस्थान, सेंदुर्णी पूर्वामुख गोपाळाचे देऊळ, तेथ अवस्थान दिस दहा, एकू दिसी गोसावी विहरणा बीजे केले. The passage can be loosely translated as follows. Once, Chakradhar visited the Krishna temple at Sendurni. When returning home, he said to Padmanabh Dev, who was accompanying him, Padmanabh, go and get some gram. Padmanabh readily went and requested the farmer to give them some grain. The farmer saw that they are monks and said, take as much as you want. So that gram was brought home, washed, and soaked. Then the omniscient Swami said, make pancakes out of this with your own hands. While it was being ground to a paste, Demaisa arrived and said, I'll make the pancakes. So she made the pancakes. Some grain was sold, and in exchange, rice and butter was bought. A meal was prepared. Then a puja was offered for the Swami. Everyone was served the meal. When the Swami had washed his mouth, he was offered a betel leaf. See how simple and straightforward the language is. Small sentences and use of the day-to-day language makes it pure and beautiful. The narration comes alive by the picturesque descriptions and dialogues. And the most important aspect of this book is that it is full of bhakti rasa or devotion. The followers of Mahanubhav sect believe that Chakradhar Swami was an incarnation of Lord Krishna. It is believed that when Harpadev came back to life on his funeral pyre, the soul of the great yogi of Phaltan, Changdev Raud, had actually entered his body. The 5 incarnations of Krishna are believed to be Shri Krishna of Dwarka, Dattatreya, Govind Prabhu, Changdev Raud, and Chakradhar Swami. Chakradhar Swami's physical beauty, his gentle, loving nature, his preachings which did not believe in caste and did not discriminate between men and women, his caring attitude towards his disciples made him very dear to his followers, which is why Maim Bhatt has noted down even his ordinary deeds and behavior. In Marathi, the deeds are called Leela, and hence the book is called Leela Charitra. This book established the tradition of prose literature in Marathi. The followers of Mahanubhav sect later on composed several texts in prose and poetry. Unfortunately, the original text composed by Maim Bhatt was lost during a raid by robbers. But by then, his disciples had learned the text by heart. It was then rewritten after consulting Chakradhar's close associates such as Hiraisa. Let us now hear from Dr. Avinash Avalgaonkar how Leela Charitra influenced Marathi literature.
लीळा चरित्राचं मराठी साहित्यामधलं जे स्थान आहे ते मराठी भाषा साहित्य आणि संस्कृतीच्या दृष्टीने अनन्यसाधारण असं आहे. त्याचं कारण असं की हा ग्रंथ शके 1208 मध्ये निर्माण झाला. म्हणजे असं म्हणायला पाहिजे की हा मराठीतला पहिला केवळ गद्यग्रंथ नाही तर तो सबंध मराठी भाषेमधला पहिला ग्रंथ आहे. कारण त्यापूर्वी मराठी भाषेमध्ये एकही ग्रंथ निर्माण झालेला नव्हता आणि तिथून लेखनाला प्रारंभ झाला आणि मग लीळा चरित्रानंतर अनेक ग्रंथ मराठी भाषेमध्ये निर्माण झाले. तर आणखी एक महत्वाची गोष्ट अशी की लीळा चरित्राचा उल्लेख करीत असताना आपल्याला असं सुद्धा म्हणता येईल की हा एक चरित्र ग्रंथ आहे. कारण या पंथाचे संस्थापक स्वामी श्री चक्रधर यांचं चरित्र माईम भट्टांनी लिहिलं. पण केवळ तो चरित्र ग्रंथ म्हणूनही नाही तर गंमत अशी आपल्या लक्षात येईल की चरित्राबरोबरच स्वामी चक्रधरांच्या परिवारामध्ये असलेला जो सगळा लोकसमूह होता या लोकसमूहाचं चित्रण देखील या ग्रंथामध्ये आलेलं आहे. म्हणजे एकीकडे चरित्र ग्रंथ आणि दुसरीकडे त्याच वेळेला आत्मचरित्र ग्रंथ अशा स्वरूपाचं चित्रण आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतं. अनेकांचं चरित्र आहे, माईम भट्टांचं आत्मचरित्र सुद्धा त्यामध्ये आलेलं आहे. तर आणखी या दृष्टीने त्याचं महत्व लक्षात घ्यायला पाहिजे की यादवकालीन जी संस्कृती आहे, म्हणजे मी असं म्हणालो की भाषा, साहित्य आणि संस्कृतीच्या दृष्टीने या ग्रंथाचं स्थान अनन्यसाधारण असं आहे. त्याचं कारण असं आहे की यादवकालीन मराठी भाषा ही कशी होती. यादव काळामध्ये लोकजीवनामध्ये जी भाषा सहजपणे बोलली जात असायची, म्हणजे आज जसं आपण मराठी भाषा बोलतो त्याप्रमाणे यादव काळामध्ये जी भाषा बोलली जात असायची त्या भाषेचं रूप हे लीळाचरित्रामध्ये पाहायला मिळतं. आणि चरित्र याचा अर्थ केवळ प्रारंभापासून शेवटपर्यंत लेखक लिहित जातो असं नाहीये. तर यामध्ये एक एक प्रसंग, ज्याला आपण लीळा असं म्हणतोय, लीळा म्हणजे आठवणी, स्वामी चक्रधरांनी केलेल्या ज्या सहेतुक क्रीडा आहेत, ज्या सहेतुक लीळा आहेत, त्या लीळांची बांधणी महिमभट्टाने केली. आणि एक एक लीळा म्हणजे एक एक आठवण, एक एक प्रसंग चित्रण आहे. तेव्हा आपल्या असं लक्षात येतं की यातली कोणतीही लीळा कधीही कशीही वाचली तरी देखील त्याचा संबंध लीळा चरित्राशी काही संबंध येतो असं नाहीये. म्हणजे स्वतंत्रपणे एखादी कथा वाचावी त्याप्रमाणे एखादी लीळा आपण वाचू शकतो. आणि संबंध लीळा चरित्र म्हणजे एक मोठा कादंबरीचा ग्रंथ व्हावा असं त्याचं स्वरूप आहे. तर अनेक दृष्टीने हा ग्रंथ महत्वपूर्ण आहे. यामध्ये आणखी एक महत्वाची गोष्ट अशी की लोकसंस्कृतीचं जिवंत दर्शन लीळा चित्रामध्ये घडते. म्हणजे यादवकालीन जीवनाचं चित्रण तर घडतं, पण यादव काळाच्या आधी जे काही मानवी जीवनाचे संदर्भ आहे तेही लीळा चरित्रामध्ये पाहायला मिळतात. शिल्पकला आहे, चित्रकला आहे, व्यापार आहे, अर्थव्यवस्था आहे, यादवकालीन मंदिर आहेत, यादवकालीन देवी देवता आहेत, खाद्यपदार्थ आहेत किंवा जीवनशैली आहे, या सगळ्यांचं चित्रण आपल्याला यामध्ये पाहायला मिळतं. आणखी महत्वाची गोष्ट म्हणजे हा केवळ तत्वज्ञानाचा ग्रंथ आहे असं समजण्याचं कारण नाहीये. कारण लीळा चरित्राच्या निर्मितीची मागची प्रेरणा ही धर्मव्यवस्था ही जरी असली तरी आपल्या असं लक्षात येतं की यामध्ये तत्वज्ञानाबरोबरच तत्वज्ञानाचं आकलन होण्यासाठी स्वामी चक्रधरांनी जे वेगवेगळे दृष्टांत सांगितलेले आहेत हे दृष्टांत देखील यामध्ये आलेले आहेत. ते दृष्टांत म्हणजे वेगवेगळ्या कथा आहेत. आणि आपल्या असं लक्षात येईल की लोक कथांचा पहिला आविष्कार लिखित स्वरूपामधला हा लीळा चरित्रामध्येच आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतो. तेव्हा लहान लहान सूत्रांमधून एक व्यापक अशा प्रकारचा जीवनार्थ कसा देता येऊ शकतो याचं दादांत उदाहरण म्हणजे लीळा चरित्रातील स्वामी चक्रधरांनी सांगितलेली सूत्र. उदाहरणार्थ, अहंतेचे मूळ सकंदी उपडावे नायका, एरवी अंकुर निगती मग शांतीचे रोप लावा. म्हणजे आजच्या व्यवस्थेसाठी, सामाजिक परिवर्तनासाठी जर आपल्याला काय करायला पाहिजे तर मानवी जीवनामध्ये निर्माण झालेली अहंता ही जर पूर्णपणे नाहीशी करून टाकली तर सकंदी उपडावे म्हणजे मुळासकट उपटून टाकावे, ते पूर्ण नाहीसं करावं, नाही तर मग त्याला पुन्हा अंकुर निघत राहते. म्हणजे इतकी साधी साधी वाक्यरचना आहे. किंवा चातुर्वर्ण चरित भैक्षम म्हणजे चारही वर्णांच्या घरी भिक्षा करून समाजामधली जी विषमता आहे ती नाहीशी करायची. अशा प्रकारच्या सुंदर सुंदर सूत्रांमधून मानवी जीवनाला उत्तम अशा प्रकारचा आदर्श रूप देण्याचं काम या लीळा चरित्रामध्ये झालेलं आहे असं आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतं. आणि म्हणून मी असं म्हणेन की यादवकालीन मराठी भाषेमध्ये निर्माण झालेला हा पहिला ग्रंथ म्हणजे मराठी भाषा, साहित्य आणि संस्कृतीचं पहिलं देशीकार लेणं आहे. तेव्हा गद्यातलं काव्य म्हणजे याची भाषा देखील इतकी सुंदर आहे, छोटी छोटी वाक्यरचना, काव्यात्मकता पाहायला मिळेल अशा प्रकारची वाक्यरचना. म्हणून मी असं म्हणेल की गद्यातलं काव्य सौंदर्य अनुभवायचं असेल तर एकतरी लीळा अनुभविजे, एकतरी लीळा वाचावी, म्हणजे यातलं सौंदर्य आपल्याला कळू शकेल.
Chakradhar was a source of inspiration to his disciples. That is why Leela Charitra contains everything from his philosophy to his ordinary dialogues, from his daily routine to his miracles. Thus, this one text provides joy to the readers at many levels, from philosophical angle to being the repository of culture. It takes us back to the time 900 years ago. Look at this deed in the first part of the book. बाईसे प्रतिदिनी पानुनायकाचे या घरा भिक्षे जाती. गोसावी तिये बिढारी राहिले. तेणे ते यासी थोर आश्चर्य झाले. बाईसे जाती तेवळी पाट बैसो घालिती. सोपस्कार भिक्षा देती. The story goes that once Chakradhar and his disciples were staying at a town, and his disciples used to go to various houses to seek alms. So there was this one particular house where one of the lady disciples used to go every day, and the lady of the house would respectfully invite her inside and offer her the alms. So one day the disciple said to the lady that I haven't seen your husband for the last few days. And the lady said, he suffers from a unique disorder. He just can't tolerate the cold. And he has to keep lying in the bed with lots of quilts and layers of clothing. So the disciple says, why don't you come and visit our Swami? He is known to cure people of their ailments. So the next day, the couple goes and visits the Swami, and they pay their respect, and Chakradhar asks, is there something wrong with you? Are you suffering from some ailment? And the man says, Swami, what can I say? For the last few years, I just can't tolerate cold. I have to wear layers of clothing. I have to take many quilts when sleeping. And I have to light one stone near my legs, one stone near my head. Only then I can sleep. So Chakradhar says, today when you go back, don't light the stoves and try sleeping. And the man says, I will feel so cold, I won't be able to sleep. Chakradhar says, if you feel cold, then you can light the stove. So the man goes home and at night goes to bed without lighting the stoves, and he is able to sleep very soundly. So next day, very happily, he goes back to the Swami, pays his respect, and the Chakradhar asks, did you light the stove? Were you able to sleep? He says, yes, I was able to sleep so well. Then Chakradhar says, so today, try to sleep without your quilts. The man is afraid. So the Swami says, if you feel cold, then you can take the quilts. And he goes home and tries to go to bed without the quilts, and he is able to have a very sound sleep. So next day he is very happy, goes back to Chakradhar, and this time Chakradhar tells him not to wear too many clothes, layers of clothing, and try to sleep. And he does that and he is able to sleep very soundly. So the next day he is so happy, he goes around the town, he visits the market, and people start saying, what a miracle, this person has been cured of his ailment. So this is how Chakradhar cured him of the ailment. And Leela Charitra is full of such small tales. Since each of these deeds is complete in itself, one can open any page and begin reading. I'm sure you will definitely like this book. Do let us know how you liked this episode. See you all again next Friday to talk about yet another book. Until then, keep reading.